Since 2010, Medicaid costs have gone up by 50%, while the costs of running the federal government as a whole have gone up by 23%. Medicaid is what is driving the tremendous increase in the federal budget and the galloping increase in federal entitlement spending. Back in 1980, only a third of the federal budget went for entitlements. Now two-thirds does, for cash transfers. Everything from Social Security to Medicare to Medicaid to food stamps to welfare and everything else. Two-thirds of the federal budget is just taking from Peter and giving to Paul. And the big expansion has not been Social Security or Medicare. They've been relatively flat. The thing that has gone completely berserk is Medicaid. Back in 2010, it cost $400 billion. Now it costs $600 billion. And the projections are for it to continue to just spiral out of control. Now, the best thing that was in the bill to replace Obamacare, that apparently is not passing at the moment, was that it killed the Medicaid entitlement, which Republicans have been trying to do for 10 years now, or 15 years. Instead, it gave each state a fixed amount of money, which increased with medical inflation, and they could spend it as they wish. And they could tailor the program to their state. They could enact work requirements. They could enact co-payments to limit utilization. They could cover certain services and not other services. They could really tailor the program in the way that it made sense within their overall framework and finances. Instead, under the entitlement system, anybody who walks in and signs a form and passes the basic income screening is eligible for Medicaid. And as a result, the states can't control the spending. As Medicaid has increased by 50%, education funding has been completely flat, because schools, they can't afford to give the schools a penny more, because every available penny is eaten up by the Medicaid program. Now, if Obamacare fails, the exchanges will go dark, and people will no longer be able to buy insurance. But the welfare recipients will go on happily raking in Medicaid. And that would be a real shame and a budgetary catastrophe. We have got to insist that whatever else happens, Medicaid ends its status as an entitlement and instead becomes a budgeted expenditure with a cap on it, with power going to the states. 11% of the money spent on Medicaid is spent fraudulently, according to the Government Accounting Office. It goes to people who shouldn't get it, or payments that those people shouldn't be getting. But nobody enforces it, because it's a third state and two-thirds federal, and neither one has a lot of skin in the game. They all point to the other one. And as a result, there is no enforcement of integrity in the program. If you made this all state money, you'd have a lot of enforcement, and some very effective enforcement to cut that fraud and abuse. But it'll never happen with the Democrats' votes are needed, because the Democrats will never go along with reforming Medicaid. Even if we ask for the same reforms in Medicaid that Clinton already got in welfare, which is a work requirement, the Democrats are not going to go along with it. So that really is the big challenge that we're facing. Not so much how to put Obamacare back on its feet, or replace it, which is what we need to do, or repeal it, which would be okay. The big challenge is to keep the limitation on Medicaid.